Welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and sincere apologies. We have very limited time to deal with this also important matter. My guests remain Alfred Chua, former Deputy Attorney General and Deputy Minister for Justice, Professor Kwadwo Appiah Chia, Associate Professor, School of Law, University of Ghana, Professor Sharif Mahmood Khalid is Economic Advisor to the Vice President, Amanda Coco Clinton, and she has some knowledge into African politics and heads the Clinton consultancy. Austin Game, CEO of Game and Game Group, and labor consultant, also joins us. So perhaps I'll begin with Mr. Game. And thank you very much for making some time, because I understand you just stepped out of the classroom to be able to speak to us. So Professor Kwadwo Asari in the United States of America got social media really crazy with what he had to speak about. He said he has cited a document approving 2021-2024 salaries. That's exactly correct. 2021-2024 salaries for chairpersons and members of independent governance bodies. And he can confirm that the Auditor General and other independent governance body heads were earning 34,000 monthly in 2020, rising to 62,000 by 2024 December. And he says that if you take a closer look, he put a table which shows the salaries by year and year on increase. In 2024, there is an adjustment for January to June, and in July to December. And it's such a quantum leap. The total increase from 2020 to 2024 is about 81%. Then he compares that to the cedi depreciation and everything else. And he says, obviously, it doesn't look like our purse can sustain this. What do you say? I can confirm that this is actually true. There is an approval for the Janet Ampadu Fofie Presidential Committee on Emoluments for Article 71 office holders for 2021-2024. Yeah.
Something. Thank you. And I don't know whether we have entered the afternoon already. I think we are still in morning. So good morning to your listeners.
Morning.
To be honest with you, I think if what I heard is anything to go by, the 81% adjustment on that of 2021 in 2024 may be astronomical because of the time difference. What it means is that 2022, there was no adjustment per se. 2023, there was no adjustment also. And 2024, so cumulatively, what it means is that you have something like a 25% adjustment, 25, and maybe it rounded it up to 31%. Sorry, 81%. The 81%, yes, will sound astronomical, but it should be put in the context that it's been done within 3 years space. That is one part of it. The whole business of Article 71, as have been variously said before during the campaign of the political parties, clearly, and my own views also, is that we have to take a second look at it, because it's not gaining the attention and the importance it deserves in the public domain. So we have to find a way of addressing it, even as we address that of the general state working people.
The Constitution,
so yes, I agree. It's just too astronomical because of the cumulative fact that it's 3 years, as the case may be.
The Constitution Review commissioned by Professor Albert Fiajo came to the conclusion that we needed an emoluments commission to be doing this. The Constitution Review Consultative Committee done under, led by Clara Berry Kaseti under the Akufo-Addo regime also supported the Professor Fiajo committee, but wanted something that was ad hoc and not permanent. We have had various people, including Professor Bonzi Simpson, suggest that there was a need to fix the salary regime of public sector inequalities. Why do you think we are never getting to do this? We wait until the end of the term, and then Parliament, President sets up a committee for Parliament, Parliament does for the President, and then we get all these fat salaries or remuneration, so to speak.
Yes, like you rightly said, it's because of the time factor. Hence, it sounds quite astronomical in the years of everybody, including myself. But I think that it's about time we have to review the whole process of remuneration administration in the whole country, including that of people who have been placed on Article 71 by virtue of the Constitution of Ghana. I think, to be honest with you, remuneration is in two parts. One is about the base pay of the people who are Article 71 people, and I want to separate them. You know, members of Parliament, the President, the Vice President, the Ministers of State. Really, I don't see even the reason why we should be worrying ourselves with bringing into the fray people in the judiciary, for instance. There are people who retire on their emolument. They are guaranteed very well their tenure of office. So we should leave them to do what they do best already.
Often when you say they retire on their emolument, what do you mean?
Judiciary and those other people should be treated like that.
Yeah, Mr. Game. Mr. Game, when you say they retire on their emoluments, what do you mean?
The people from the superior court upstairs, as you know, they are people who are not supposed to be. I don't think it is fair to have bundled them with Article 71 people who don't have the kind of tenure of office people in the judiciary have. They can go on working until they retire at 70. The people who are in Parliament and are in the office of state, ministers of state and so forth, they are contractors. Even the President is a contractor. The President is on a 4-year contract, subject to the pleasure of the people of Ghana to renew it.
Are you saying
members of Parliament are on contract for 4 years?
Are you saying
subject to renewal at the pleasure of the people who send them there?
Mr. Game,
the real employers are the constituency people.
Mr. Game,
the state only takes over to manage them, and therefore they are people who we must pay as contractors and pay them their social security. Maybe create the second tier. Of course, the second tier is there already; it's mandatory. There may be a provident fund, so we don't make ourselves, gurus in paying people astronomical pay.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me go to Professor Piaget. Prof, do you agree with Mr. Game? Is it too much to pay the NCC boss 62,000 in today? Too much to pay the Lands Commission boss 62,000? Too much to pay the National Media Commission boss 38,000, Public Service Commission boss 62,000. Is it too much to pay the Chief Justice 67,000, to pay the Supreme Court Judge 65,000, Court of Appeal Judge 62,000, High Court Judge 59,000? Is it too much? The economy cannot take this? Okay, Prof. Hello, Prof. Okay, so let's hear from Amanda. Is that too much? The Shraj boss, 62,000, is that too much?
I say why I completely disagree with him. First of all, the professor says that we have engineered the quiet flood of elite compensation, a golden handshake, a retirement jackpot. And I don't agree with him, because if we want quality governance, ultimately we must stop treating public leadership like a discount profession. Secondly, the framers intended Article 71 to insulate public office holders from corruption, not to be renegotiated whenever, they say the economy dips, for instance. And thirdly, we shouldn't punish high office holders for the failure of broader fiscal discipline. You know what I mean? Like scapegoating when, money is going out a different way, etc. We should deal with the bigger issues of how money is leaving the system, how we can curtail that. And I'll give you a very interesting story. I know someone who was tapped to be on the Supreme Court like 15 years ago. So they went to her quietly, as they normally do, and they asked her, and she quietly declined. And the reason she did so was that at her age, 15 years ago, everybody, her peer groups who became judges, she said, died within 2 years because they were so overworked and filled with anxiety. 15 years later, she's still alive and having a great time. My point is, the professor seems to miss that these jobs are highly stressful, very, very peculiar and particular jobs. And we are trying to recruit at the highest level because we've gotten away from the brain drain to a certain extent. And even what we have now is great. We're even trying to aim higher to recruit people like you, for instance, at that level, because it might not be as attractive to go to such a job. And this pay is still not attractive because, respectfully, you probably earn a lot more than that. So the point is, we're recruiting at the highest level.
Remember when Unicolendi accepted to go to the Supreme Court? What almost everybody was saying, what are you going to do there?
Exactly.
Because you've got it.
Yeah, it's service. That was ultimate service.
It was service. Otherwise, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but this one, from a social scientist perspective, it's a bit gloomy. But, you also have to analyze how much longer do these people tend to live after they leave office. It's not just an academic discussion of, all this money, all this money. We're talking about the speaker, the people on the Supreme Court, etc. Highly stressful jobs that probably took 10 years from their life just by being in those jobs. How much on average do they live after?
And even if satisfied with what your Lands Commission gives you? Are you satisfied with what your GTEC head gives you? Are you satisfied with what your NCC boss? Are you satisfied with what they are giving you, and to say that they are worthy of 60,000+ a month? That's just salary.
They are worthy of even more, and that is why at the Attorney General's Department, when I was there like 14, 15 years ago, I entered when it was like the single spine and it was good, and when I was leaving, it was even better, so I missed out. But the point is, they're trying to recruit at the highest levels, and just that is the beginning of attempting to recruit at the highest level. But I think the professor has it completely wrong. We should try and save money where it's really leaking in terms of absolute corruption.
The question being asked is this economically sustainable?
It is.
And socially justifiable in our country today?
Yes, because of what the framers of the Constitution intended, which was to ensure that, people aren't tempted.
They intended that every 4 years, a president will set up a committee to determine, how they get paid. Parliament will set up a committee to determine how the president gets paid, and then the president sets up to determine how Parliament and other, Article 74 holders get paid.
These people, respectfully, I mean, if some of us know some of these people, they're not living off this money. You know what I mean? Like, the expenses they have, this money will not satisfy that, first and foremost. And secondly, it is actually an insult to what they do because of the types of positions we're talking about.
Quickly, we are just 2 minutes to go. Prof.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, his concern is that the times and the quantum of increase, the ordinary public servant doesn't get that.
Well, I know that these are done professionally, right? When these committees are set, they just don't do them in a vacuum. Interest rate, inflation, at the time are all play a role here. But you see, when we are discussing matters of public interest in this light, and we cherry pick some numbers, it doesn't help the debate, or it doesn't help do justice to the debate. You have civil servants with the allowances and some of the earnings that may probably earn far more than this.
Kofi Bentil says that those so-called emoluments are a despicable loot of the treasury. Shame on them. Our leaders must find a sense of shame to stop the cyclical loot.
Yeah.
It threatens the republic. I've always argued that there is nothing complex about emoluments which cannot be fixed, and I propose that the president should earn 5,000 times the minimum wage, and it cascades from there downward. Pecs must be attached to each office as reasonable. The whole Article 71 must be deleted, and that's what President Mahama promised.
Yes, but I'm saying that if we become emotive and populist about this debate, it doesn't help. Right? We all know what we're talking about here.
Why do you think President Mahama said he will scrap S-Gracia, for example?
For example, President Mahama demonstrated that already by interfering. You remember when the Rama committee was set up and they came out with the pegs, he said this was too high and was even taken to court. Someone went to court for that to say, was he permitted to actually interfere?
You mean President Mills did one like that? There was President Mills, I've forgotten this popular man's name, former of...
there was Emmanuel Kwa,
it's okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the Kwa case that if you look at it, that President Mahama said this was too high. So we listened to the public debate among other issues. But my question is that, okay, let's say you were head of a state insurance company or a bank. Can someone come out from private sector to say that your counterpart at this bank, with his KPIs, is not earning as much as you are earning? Then we can have a real debate to say, okay, these are the KPIs. Can state agencies or the government also begin to give this? For example, you look at all of Article 71 office holders. Not all of them, they don't even have pension pots. So you're a minister or you're a staffer or so by the time you're going home, you have
but they are
pension.
getting far more than the pension that the ordinary person is getting. So what are you talking about?
I'm coming to that. Yeah?
Unfortunately, we have run out of time.
But you have judges who are also Article 71 office holders retiring on their salary.
We have run out of time, but this subject has to be revisited. As I can see from the comment from our viewers, and my outfit is by Konati Clothing, 0244676732. Just call them, and they will make you look good. My guests have been Professor Khalid, Amanda Clinton, and we've also had Professor Pierre Tua and Alfred Chia Yabua. That's a tall one coming from Professor Bob Boateng, but unfortunately time is not up. Time is up. Have a good afternoon.